Let's talk about the Alta walkthrough video. So as I mentioned in the Ivy Learned walkthrough, we have multiple types of Alta assignments. So this is just where I want to show you and talk about them. So the first one is what we call an adaptive assignment. The majority of your homework will be adaptive. Now, what that means, and I'm not choosing one because one's kind of a boring intro assignment, right? But when I click on 2A, right? So it doesn't matter which one you start with. When you click on it, it's going to throw you right into the assignment. Okay, so you're going to see the name of the assignment at the top. You'll see the due date, right? This is what we want. And you see a start button. Now, if I continue to scroll, you will see how many learning objectives. So in this particular assignment, there are 2 learning objectives that your goal is to master. Okay, meaning because this is adaptive, you could miss 40 problems and still end up with 100% because you will just work until you understand, and then you're golden. The key is this is, homework is supposed to be a learning time. So we don't, penalize you for getting things wrong. We just know it's part of the learning process. So I'm going to hit start. And we're going to see what happens. Okay, great. You can read that later. So you can see the objective in the top. And first, it's going to start with some type of instruction. So either a text piece or a video. So if you're still a little unsure about ratios, you could read through this. You could watch the video, whatever. And then you click continue. And I call this a continuous learning path. So you will see that then we have a question and we're going to write this as a fraction. That's not the right answer. It's a free response, so I have 2 tries, okay? Maybe it's 3/4. Don't guess, right? Get yourself a notebook with paper and sit down and work things out. Because as you miss things, right, at the top we have this mastery bar. As you get things right, the mastery bar fills. If you get it wrong, it will decline. Because obviously if you get it wrong, then you're not quite sure what's going on. So now we're going to have ratios involving decimals. And again, if you're like, ratios and decimals, what? Go through the instruction. Look at the examples. See what it says. How does this work? Great. Continue. And then we say, okay, write this answer as a simplified fraction. Well, maybe it's 46 over 115. And we can submit. That is not correct, which means these are reducible. I don't know what they're reducible by, so we'll just say maybe that's the same answer. So then it tells me the answer is 2/5. Okay, great. And I continue. And then, so it's going to go through all of these things. And after a while, the instruction stops and you just have questions. Okay, but it goes through examples of the types of questions, and then it gives you the questions so you can show what you need. Now, the key is there are going to be some topics that you're going to go through and say, this stuff is super easy, and you're going to fly right through. And then there's going to be different things that you're like, I don't know how to do this. That's where Alta will help you. We are all at different levels at different times, and that's okay. That's the purpose of adaptive, is that when you need help, it's going to give you more help. Okay, you've noticed I kind of went through a little quickly. Here we have a video, but after I do every question, okay, and I didn't even read that question, but after every question, it explains, right? Like what we're trying to do, substitute it in, simplify. It walks you through what we're doing with this, okay? So that's the goal, is that you first are going to have kind of some help working through, and then you'll do problems. So again, if it's something that you understand, you'll move pretty quickly. If it's a new topic or it's something that you struggle with, help is going to be given to you in here, but it might take you a little longer. We are all going to have a different learning path because we are all different. And that's okay. I don't like being treated the same as everybody else because I'm not the same as everybody else. And that's how Alta works. It treats you the way you need to be treated in a math class. If you need more time, we give you more time. You need more practice, we give you more practice. You already know, we push you through. So that's kind of the way it is. Don't wait until the last minute to start, because if you hit a stumbling block, you might run out of time. Okay? And then it's just, you'll notice that it's just the continuous path. So you just keep hitting submit and next, and it comes up. At any point in time, if you get stuck, send me an email, okay? Because if we go back to the beginning of this assignment, you now have, well, this is me, activity, right? The activity details shows you every instruction and question that you've seen as your instructor, I also have access to all of this. So if you get to this point and you're like, I am so confused, you can send me an email and say, Becky, on homework 2A, I'm so confused. Like, can you help me, like, what I'm doing wrong? And I can go in and I can look at all of your questions that you're missing, and I can probably give you some feedback on that. Okay, so you have the activity details, I have the activity details. That's the adaptive. And again, that's the majority of your assignments. Now, you have a few like this per capita. There's a video for per capita, and that means there's an assignment for per capita. Now, this is something that did not exist in Alta, so we built called a static assignment. So this is not adaptive. You're going to notice that you have 4 attempts. Every attempt is going to be identical. So what you're going to want to do is have yourself a notebook and do number 1 and give yourself an answer, and then do number 2 and give yourself an answer, and then do number 3 and give yourself an answer, and then hit submit. Okay, so notice 3 questions, and I got a 0%, but you can see the question results. So if you had gotten 2 out of 3 correct, it'll show you which ones are right or wrong. So if you do 3 attempts and you have 2 correct and you're still missing 1, you can email me and say, Becky, on homework 4C, I've already done 3 attempts. There's 1 I cannot get. I can go in and look at what you've done and give you feedback. I am always willing to help, but if you don't ask, I don't know, right? So you have to start that communication piece. I am always willing to help you if you ask, okay? So that's the second type. The third type of assignment are actually the quizzes. Now the quizzes, you will see them, they are quizzes. They're going to look very much like those static assignments, except you only have 2 tries. Okay, so, but same thing, they're also timed. And the reason they're timed is because the exams are timed. So this is just starting to get you in that mindset that, you know, some things are timed and you have to pay attention to that. So I'm just going to go ahead and put in some answers here. And then you'll notice this one has 6 questions. So we do the first one again. Write them down. I think these questions might actually change though. So be careful that you pay attention. Don't just write them down and then copy in the same answers, because the questions might actually change in the quizzes. That's the difference. Okay, but same thing, like I got a 0%, I can see my question results. So you can go through and see which ones you got right, which ones you got wrong, try to figure out why not. Feel free to email me and say, Becky, I took my quiz the first time. Can we talk about it? We can set up a one-on-one time and talk through it. That all has to be done like not the day things are due. Okay, if you want to spend time like talking through math, it can't be the day things are due unless we do it in the live class, because that's possible. Okay, so that's basically it. We have adaptive, we have static homework, we have quizzes, and then we have exams. Exams are going to look very much like the quizzes, except they're going to be longer, timed, and 1 try. Okay, and we will talk more about exams when we get closer to the first one. Okay, so that's how we do our homework, quizzes, and such in Alta to get started. All right, should be good. Deuces.